Hey all, here at OS Reviews. You're watching our video first look and a quick review of another kind of strange gadget. It's a smart water bottle or a smart cup, and we recently saw the Xiaomi smart water bottle. So this is a competitor to that. It's called the G1. It's slightly more expensive. You can find it in links down below. It goes on MRSP for around 50 bucks, but it often goes on sale for around 40, sometimes even a little lower. So similar price points. For the money, you are getting a cup that is Bluetooth enabled that will push you updates to the phone, including the temperature as well as reminders for when the beverage is getting cold, for when it's been stored in the container for too long for you to dump it out, things like that, and also tracks your intake of the water as well as again stores the temperature info. The G1 has a very interesting shape. It's shaped like a pen or like a bowling pin, so this is what an image looks like. It also has ability to locate the water bottle since it's going to be connected to the phone, so you can just tap on it once and then the bottle will probably beep or vibrate to tell you that this is where it's at. It comes in a number of different colors. There's also a smart display on the very top, it seems, that gives you a visual indicator of the water and the health or the percentage remaining. So a very clever and interesting design. The capacity is 500 milliliters, so it is a little smaller than on Xiaomi's version, but we'll take a closer look at the box first. Very simple. Everything seems to be printed in Chinese. This has been exported directly from China. So again, you have the some of the features stamped on there and the capacity on the side. This is the app that you want to scan and download, and it works with iOS and Android using Bluetooth 4.0. The bottle is right on top. We're going to pull this out. There's also an instruction manual. There is no USB cable. And that means the G1 probably doesn't have a rechargeable battery, but instead uses a cell-based battery that you have to replace after a year or two. This is what the app looks like. Unfortunately, all the instructions are printed completely in Chinese, but hopefully it'll be simple enough to figure out as we start getting going. There's also kind of a tumbler or an optional kind of accessory here that comes outside of the main box that was bundled together in the larger shipping box that you can see here. You can screw into the bottle. Looks like this. And there's also a kind of case for the bottle as an extra bonus. The water bottle itself is constructed entirely out of aluminum. It has a matte surface which makes it easier to grip, and it doesn't attract quite as much fingerprints. Definitely has a very striking, unique look. The bottom here features rubber feet that prevents it from sliding around on a surface or a desk, and the metal here is actually made out of a very thick aluminum with these edges that makes it a lot easier to twist open and close. The seal also seems to be quite tight, so no water will leak out. This is the very small display on the front here. We can open up this protector, and it's a capacitive sensor. You can kind of see the LED dots underneath that will light up when it tells you the temperature. There's also a ring, as you can see there, that is lit up that tells you the battery capacity, as well as probably some very basic setup info. So seems to be quite straightforward, and the sensor is pretty responsive. We can open up this lid, and on the inside, you can see that it's a little bit smaller because this is a thermally insulated water bottle, just like on the Xiaomi version that we saw, which means that it will keep hot beverages hot and cold beverages cold longer. There are two layers, one on the inside, one on the outside, separated by a thermal vacuum that, again, keeps the heat in for a few hours at least. So if you are drinking coffee, it's going to be a good feature. One of the first impressions and differences of the G1 or G2 compared to the Xiaomi water bottle over here is that this is more marketed as a coffee tumbler. So there is a separate little accessory that you can use to put in tea bags and smaller maybe coffee beans that will prevent it from going out. On this, you don't get that accessory, so it works better for pre-made beverages. On Android, the app is simply called Smart Cup, and on iOS it's called SGUAI, which is probably the company's or the manufacturer's name. And the layout is the same on both versions. When you first launch into it, you have to create a password and enter a phone number or email to set up an account, just for security reasons. I do think this step is a little bit extra just because most people will already have a password or a fingerprint sensor on their phone these days as security. So signing in each time just to check on your water bottle seems a little bit too complicated. But regardless, the app itself is fairly simple. Once Bluetooth is turned on, you can locate where the nearest bottle is and tap to pair it. And down below here, you do have some very basic things like a reminder. You can set it up so that once you need to hit a target, let's say if 1,000 milliliters of water finished each day, it will detect that. Once the water is done, you simply tap on it. And there's also personal account information, and there's also about, which tells you the firmware version of the software that you're running. So the app itself is pretty simple, and otherwise, other panels of the app. So here are some screenshots. Look like this. This is the main page. If it's connected, the temperature of the water, which is pushed over using Bluetooth, and as well as the overall health of the water, how long it's been in there, and of course how much water I finished and consumed each day. So the app itself will tell you all this data and how much water you've drunk throughout the history of owning the device. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. So you can set goals and also share it with friends and family members in terms of the profile settings. The cup itself actually does a reasonable job as far as accuracy is concerned. If we take it out of this case, this is what it looks like when it fits over it. It remains fairly cool when you pick it up, and same thing, it remains cool even if you have hot water inside because it is thermally insulated. The battery is rated at 2,000 milliamp hours, and how it achieves this is it stacks 2-cell batteries on top of one another. It's rated to last you 1 year. Afterwards, you can replace it by untwisting the top of the bottle and then taking a look by unscrewing things further. The display on top here also gives you a pretty good idea of what the temperature is in real time, and it works pretty well. It's sensitive enough. The LEDs, though, are a little bit dimmer and harder to see under bright lighting environments compared to Xiaomi's sensor that they're using on the top of their bottle, as you can see there, since it has a contrast between the white and the black. But regardless, they're both pretty sensitive and easy to use. The color here calibrates to the health of the water, so if it's at a certain temperature, such as below 30 degrees, it will always be green, and then it's going to turn red when it gets too hot or if it's been sitting there for too long. So all of these things work pretty well. There isn't actually a timer setting that you can see from the display on top here. You have to use the app for that, such as seeing if the water has been sitting in here for over a day or for over 10 hours, you want to dump it out. But other things such as location features, tracking where it is, those things all work pretty well, just like on any other Bluetooth enabled tracker or fitness device. It can tell you the location and beep when it's nearby. So no real complaints there. The temperature here seems to be pretty accurate. I would say I put into these two bottles the same water, and you can tell that the temperature is roughly 1 degree Celsius apart. So there's a little bit of separation there. The sensor is located on the lid and not on the base of the bottle. So to get the most accurate reading, you kind of have to shake it if the water is running low. So if it's only a small percentage of the beverage remaining, you kind of have to shake it once for the sensor to kind of touch the water for a second and then tell you what the temperature is more correctly. That's something to quickly point out. Otherwise, it's pretty good in terms of the seal. No water will accidentally leak out, as you can see there, and everything seems to be very well constructed from the build and material point of view. Again, this is the sensor for the temperature, and that is what needs to touch the water for your reading. So before we end this video, I'm going to do a quick size comparison again next to the Xiaomi, which has a larger capacity and a slightly more traditional design. Finally, we have access to a regular water bottle, definitely smaller. This is another kind of a thermally insulated clean canteen, so you get an idea of what the size differences are there. Overall, I would say that the G1 and also the G2, which is a slightly larger version of this by the same company, is a better purchase, in my opinion, than the Xiaomi water bottle. And I say that because they are selling for more or less the same price, and I feel that this has more practical features. The addition of Bluetooth and the fact that you can actually track your progress, your water intake, and as well as find the bottle in addition to, of course, see the temperature, in my opinion, is slightly easier to track and manage using the phone. It makes more sense. Of course, the fact that you have a display built onto the bottle itself also gives you those features that you can access right away. The only advantage that Xiaomi has over the G1 would be the ability to tell you how long the water has been in there directly, but this is a feature that you can also access using the app, and I feel that G1 has a smarter design. The fact that it has Bluetooth will come in handy a bit more. It's a little smarter, and at around the same price, I think it has a slight edge from the overall construction to the overall feature set point of view. So you can check out more details in our official article, but for now, this has been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.